You've got mail.
You've got mail.
You've got sad mail.
All right, there's a message.
Oh, hey, there it is. I'm not going to make it tonight.
Oh, you know what we didn't talk about? How are we going to say that?
You've got sad mail?
No, that he's not here tonight.
No, that's it. You just say, you've got sad mail.
Oh. You've got sad mail. This is that focus, where we focus on the app.
Look how focused I can be.
Leo's internet almost works.
Just about.
So let's leave Mozilla Watch off.
I don't want to because I want to praise Mozilla so much right now.
Got to unmess the internet.
Well, do you want to cut out some of the NVIDIA talk?
No, I thought that was good too.
I know. I liked it.
Okay.
But
It's up to you.
me?
You're editing, so you know what you can cut out and what you can't.
It's more work for you, though. If we skip it, that's less work.
Don't put this evil on me, Ricky Bobby.
Coming up on this episode of Linux User Space, we get into some office politics. We're going to discuss the new products that we just can't have. And we have an app focus that will shed some light on your storage. Welcome to the Linux User Space. Hello and welcome to the Linux User Space. I'm Joe.
I'm Leo.
And I'm Dan.
And we're missing one.
I'm not Rocco.
What?
Oh, where's Rocco?
Can't hear him.
Yeah, sorry guys. Rocco's not with us today. He's been a bit under the weather. We hope to have him back soon, but we'll be thinking about him, and we'll miss him, of course. All his wonderful input. Well, and it was his job to have some banter.
I know.
So,
Yeah.
Come on.
Jeez, Rocco. All right, so we need to rename this episode. It's not Blame Joe anymore. It's Blame Rocco.
yeah, he's not here.
Just
Done.
where's Rocco?
Hashtag where in the world is Rocco San Diego?
That's it.
That's it.
He needs a whole new Twitter handle. We need to make him do that.
At least his wheels didn't fall off.
It's true.
This week he's safe and sound. We know that. So guys, anybody been up to anything cool these last few weeks?
I hear new silicon.
Oh.
Well, I did build a new PC for my daughter.
Oh.
And it's a pretty decent build. She's doing some stuff in school that required some better hardware for her.
And you just saw that tunnel and was like, well, okay, let's build one.
Let me help.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how much
Yeah.
stuff did you hand me down to her and put in your machine?
I didn't hand down anything. I actually just built the whole thing and just built it up for her.
Nice
And,
and shiny.
I know.
What kind of father are you? You can't spoil him, Dan.
Well,
Dan,
You gotta
I
give him
even-
the 6-year-old
Dan,
stuff.
you got to give him the leftover.
I know.
You got to give him your dual core Centrino something. Come
decent build. So it's a Ryzen 5 3600,
Huh?
16 gig of RAM, 500 gig NVMe, AMD 5500 XT video card.
That's just fives all the way down.
I know,
Man,
a lot of
look at all
fives.
these
there,
fives.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, just fives.
Mm.
Just put the fives all the way down.
High fives.
I was gonna say that deserves a high five. Okay, you did good. You did
And
good.
so-
I like it.
Decent build, I think. And my son helped a little bit. He helped. So it was a whole family project. It was pretty great.
And it's running Linux.
Absolutely.
Did for a little bit. I did test it out. I did do some KDE Neon testing on it, and
Well, that's an odd choice.
well, that's what we're testing for the month. So I had it on my USB
That's
key.
it.
I forgot about
See,
that.
I mean, it's just perfect. We get one extra computer into the whole thing so we can figure out if it works well. So it obviously worked well. Did you install it or was it just kind of a live situation?
I didn't install it. I did it
Okay.
live, but it was pretty handy. And it performed really well, even just live. It was pretty great.
So you're basically saying the USB ports work.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I tested
Well,
that.
thanks. Thanks for that, Dan.
And
Yeah,
and
I
at
don't
least 1 gig of that RAM.
And 1 gig of RAM.
Yeah. No, I used it so I could see all the RAM. I could see the disk. I could see, all the things. And it was pretty handy for that.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, can't beat that. Can't beat that.
No.
That's fantastic.
And what's she going to be using it for?
So she does a lot of drawing and graphics work. So she's got a lot of Adobe stuff.
That's a lot of machine for some Adobe stuff. That's cool.
That's the big
That'll
thing.
be fun.
But these days, everybody's remote, so she's doing, video, and she chats with her friends on Discord to do homework. I mean, they collaborate together there, so yeah.
So that 55, what did you say? Was it 5500?
Yeah, 5500 XT, yes.
Nice. So does Adobe Photoshop or the Adobe Suite in general, it will use the 5500 XT. It will use its whatever cores, right, for rendering and all that.
To render, yeah, it will.
Oh, fantastic.
So, what size build was it? Did you do like a micro, a mini?
No, full size tower.
ITX, full size. Oh,
full size. Oh, you're not fitting that in a trunk.
Man, taking up her whole room.
With cases like that, I always felt I felt like I was always being over the top when I was moving them around because I would put them in the passenger seat and I would buckle them in.
Put a seatbelt on.
Oh yeah,
you could.
Yeah.
Oh seriously, man.
Yeah.
Well, and if you have enough drives in it, it'll tell you, hey, someone needing the passenger seat needs to put the seatbelt on. So you better put seatbelt on anyways.
Yeah.
So it's got a lot of room for cooling, which is great, and it's very similar to my build. I have a 2700X AMD, and I will say that runs a little hotter because it's a generation older and it's got more cores, and I probably push it a little harder. But hers is super quiet, very nice machine.
And did you go with the XFS as well? XFX?
Yes, same card.
I'm looking over your shoulder. Those of you that are audio only, you don't get to see this, but yeah, it's
Dan
another one
box.
right in the corner with the other card. It's like a father-daughter card situation going on over there. So it's cute. I love it.
Yeah, I'm really happy with the XFX. They do some good stuff.
Nope. My Sapphire. I love it.
Sapphire's old school, man.
They've got a good reputation. I love that card. I love that card.
I just like my 5700 XT looks like a 57 Chevy. So that's why I like it. It's a pretty card.
It is.
It's a fat boy.
Yeah,
Was it 3 slots?
Yeah.
3 slots for video
good
card.
Lord. Yeah, mine's not that big, I don't think.
Yeah, no, it's big. It's
Maybe
big,
I
but
gotta
it's
go check.
quiet and it's got some good cooling on it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
So
the one thing I regret about the Sapphire card is that it's red. Like there's LEDs in it, and it's red, and that's it.
Oh, wow.
You can't change
Did you
it.
put any bling on her computer?
Oh yeah, she's got some RGB stuff. Her RAM, CPU. Yeah, she's got some bling.
How are you cooling it?
It's got a.
He's blowing on it.
Yeah.
Did it come with the Wraith cooler, or did you get a?
It did come with a Wraith cooler, but I didn't even install that. I put on the Cooler Master, Evo 212
Classic.
with the RGB. Yeah, big tower.
Very nice.
It's a good.
Very
unit.
nice. Well,
I'm
Dan, you're a
jealous.
good dad.
Yeah.
You're a good dad.
Well, thanks.
I had my doubts, but this kind of settles it.
Yeah, you got my daughter asking about her computer
Mm.
build.
Oh,
But
really?
She's only 13. I'm going to make her work for it.
Yep.
Tell her, you get into college, I'll bid you a computer. So this week, folks, we've got a few topics on our plate that we thought deserved a little discussion. We are going to start in the office space. Leave the user space and go to the office space.
I'm working from home. That doesn't work for me.
Okay.
But your poster says office space.
Ow, you got me there. Yeah, okay. Okay. Yep. We're in the office space now.
So recently, a little bit of a hubbub in the news between Libreoffice and Openoffice. Who would like to tell us what that hubbub was about?
So there was an open letter penned by Mike Saunders, and it goes a little something like this. Openoffice, we should work together and make LibreOffice or Openoffice the best it can be. And here's a quote from him. Make them aware that there's a much more modern, up-to-date, professionally supported suite based on Openoffice with many extra features that people need. We appeal to Apache Openoffice to do the right thing. Our goal should be to get powerful, up-to-date, and well-maintained productivity tools into the hands of as many people as possible. Let's work together on that.
So that doesn't sound so bad.
No, sounds very collaborative.
Yeah. Sure, it wasn't taken that way.
I don't think so. Honestly, I think it was just what people read into this was Mike Saunders saying, give me the Openoffice name and let me have it and do what I want to with it. But I don't, that's certainly not what was said. I mean, I think the biggest thing is that he's got a chart on this open letter that when LibreOffice was forked from Openoffice, Openoffice saw one minor release. And LibreOffice has seen, so that started with 4.1, and then we're on 7 dot something or other.
Yeah.
And there are huge differences now. And I mean, if you're using desktop software, these differences probably matter to you. Like being able to use the Microsoft Office OOXML formats like DocX and XLSX. Yeah, that.
Yes.
I always get those wrong. But yeah, just those are kind of important. And, this is not, macros withstanding, obviously. Those are never perfect in not even Google Drive or any of the other alternatives. But I don't know. I fully support this. I really feel like Mike Saunders, we need to back him up on this. Do you guys have a different take on it?
Well, it does sound like he's trying to merge the projects rather than do a hostile takeover.
Yeah.
That I get that. I think that does make sense. I think that's probably a good way. It's kind of strange. It's unprecedented. I don't think in open source, I don't think this has ever been done, to merge the two namespaces and only have one come out the other side. It seems like there's always somebody to keep the old thing going. And even if it's irrelevant, it still continues. So I'm not sure how that transition would take place, since it is unprecedented.
Honestly, I don't think Openoffice would have to, or Apache would have to do very much other than link to LibreOffice. On their page, maybe just put a little link that says, hey, do you want, I don't know about better features, but do you want these features? Openoffice doesn't provide them, but LibreOffice does. It doesn't have to be they don't even have to work too terribly much together to make this happen. Just a link would be enough, I think, if you're trying to go get Openoffice and, are unaware, which it seems to me the install base is, people are unaware that LibreOffice even exists.
Yeah.
So something as simple as a link might just be enough.
Yeah, because if you ask for an open alternative, someone first is going to say Google Docs.
Yeah.
And
well,
you're
there
going
goes
to go,
the open part.
That's
not
a
open.
free
Yeah.
alternative, but it's not open. And then they're going to say, what about that Openoffice thing?
Right.
Or FreeOffice. Those might come out before LibreOffice. And LibreOffice has put a lot of work into their software. And we kind of did a little digging and looked at some of the different stats and commits. Dan, what did we find over there?
Yeah, so Openoffice, it looks like a little over 1,000 commits in the last year or so, and about 14 developers on that project. And then we look over at LibreOffice, and real quick math, I didn't add them all up, but it looks like they're averaging about 1,000 commits a month for the last year. Yeah.
So it's like 12-fold.
Yeah. And then they've got about 50 active developers, contributors on that project in the last year.
Yeah. So obviously LibreOffice is being developed, worked on. You can see that if you install. I installed them the other day, and I thought, yep, okay. There's some polish here, looking pretty good. Does it matter? So whenever we see open source projects fall by the wayside all the time. They just, somebody doesn't take up the mantle and they just fall apart and they just don't get updated. But you don't ever see the next thing go back and say, hey, old thing, I see you're not really working on that project anymore, but I really would like to have your user base because you're a little more popular than me. That's not a thing, right?
But is it a way to gracefully transition from one to the other? I mean, yeah.
So I think you're thinking Apache cares.
Oh,
right?
Okay.
Like, I mean,
Yeah.
so Apache, like, do they care about this product even? Because they're not even updating it. So
Well,
do they even
they
care
do,
enough
but-
to say, like, hey, let's Libre? It feels like they've kind of gotten out of the Office space. I don't know. Can't speak for them, but
Well, I
Well,
mean, the 1,000 commits, that
that's-
says that they care enough to
Mhm.
make sure that there are people working on the stuff.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
But against 12,000 commits in a year, I
Roughly.
guess you would really have to magnify, zoom in and see what those commits actually are.
Yeah.
To really make a better comparison as to, how much work is really being put into this. But you got to imagine that we're talking at least double the work is going into LibreOffice,
I would think the benefit too is if you did hand it off, at least you don't have to maintain any of it anymore. If you don't really want to throw any resources at it, if you were able to just kind of push those users over because you've lost interest in the project or whatever, at least you wouldn't have to maintain it anymore.
But there's no reason you can't contribute to the new project as well.
True, and
True.
that's one of the things I was going to say. What about those 14 developers that are still working on Openoffice? Are they being paid to work on Openoffice?
Yeah, interesting.
I hope not. Have you seen Openoffice?
Oh,
Somebody.
Yeah.
I'm
Well-
sure it's all back end stuff, right?
It's just not enough, right? It's just
Yeah,
not
it's
enough
not
people
enough.
working
There's
on it.
just-
Yeah.
But I think it might be worth asking the question: is Openoffice where they want to be? Because they obviously have the popularity, but do they care about OOXML whatever integration with Microsoft documents? And if they don't, then why? Why would they want to partner up with LibreOffice and do all this work and merge this and merge that and get devs talking to each other when they might just think that Openoffice is fine the way that it is?
That's possible.
They could live on a rock somewhere under a rock.
People are still using it. They are still using it.
They
and
are. Well,
Yeah.
but here's the downside to that is because of what I mentioned earlier, because it gets recommended so quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's like somebody's going to go in there and go, oh, this is great. This is what?
Mhm.
This doesn't do this. It doesn't do that. This isn't even really a good option for me unless I strictly write Word docs and, but not any of the modernized tools for desktop computing that involve Excel files and all these different jargon that you need. I don't work with any of that, so I don't use it. But all of those complex things that are happening in those programs for different offices and businesses around the world, they're going to be like, nope, let me move back to Microsoft or let me go to Google Docs or whatever it is.
That's a
You
good
would think-
point. Yeah.
You would think Apache would just be like, well, okay, we had some interest here. We didn't. And isn't there something with the license, right? It's not like Apache can take in those. Did I understand that right? Like
They are different licenses on
it's like
them.
a one-way license or something. I don't know. Like LibreOffice can't send them. They can't go swim upstream or something. But yeah, you would think that if Apache wanted to see this project succeed, and they don't really want to put too much into it, just out of the good-natured open source whatever goodwill, maybe say, hey, you know what? We are going to close down shop and point a link to LibreOffice, and hey, these guys are doing great work. Or don't even shut it down, but just leave it, like you said, the link. Like, hey, we've stopped development. We're just maintaining it to make sure you don't get a virus.
Right.
But these guys are doing some great stuff. Go check them out. Simple as that.
Yep. There really doesn't have to be too terribly much collaboration for that to happen. But, I mean, there does have to be some kind of, high five somewhere. Speaking of fives.
Something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. A little Openoffice, LibreOffice high five.
LibreOffice, like the name, did you want a Google search result?
Yeah. Yeah, your SEO is not very high there, is it? Yeah.
No, not great. But water under the bridge, their project started in 2012, 13.
Around
around.
Openoffice 4.1, yeah?
Yeah. But everybody could probably help out on each other. So I guess the other question is, guys, does anybody use this stuff anymore? I remember the days of growing up and, let me get my Microsoft Office because I got to have it.
Yeah. Yeah, it was the only way. How else are you going to write a document, right? Well, you can use WordPad.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, gosh, WordPad.
Notepad.
Yeah.
No,
yeah.
I think most people use the online tools, right?
Yeah.
They're using the Google Docs. They're using the Microsoft 365 stuff.
Yeah, I think Drive was a consideration for us for a little while until Dan, you hooked us up with some Code EMD.
Yep.
But I mean, it's an online tool. It's very similar. We need our formatting, but Markdown works for us.
Markdown's great.
Yeah.
Unless
you have Rocco in here breaking the whole thing. See,
Oh,
and he's not here to defend himself.
Nope.
Hey, guess what didn't break this week, guys?
Yeah. Thud.
Guess what didn't break? Our dock.
I know.
Yay! Listen, the folds, they fold where they need to fold.
That's it.
I know. Pretty nice. It's a very smooth flowing dock.
All my hidden stuff, it's just nice
There
and
it
hidden.
is. Look at that. Oh,
Oh,
unhidden,
look at that.
Hidden. Unhidden? Hidden.
Poor Rocco.
I know.
Yeah.
He'll listen, though.
So we see the two differences between these two projects. It's unfortunate, I think, that the community, I feel like, did a disservice to this, kind of blew it out of the water. Because
Yeah, I think
Yeah, I
you're right.
really feel like that happened. Yeah.
I feel like a lot of the reporting I heard felt a little more antagonistic.
Yeah.
Like, hey, old man, get off my lawn, or like, here, give me your stuff and get out of here. Give me your lunch. I want all your customers.
It drives clicks, man.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I feel like it can't
guess.
hurt to ask, right? What's that hurting? The worst thing you get is a no.
Right. Yeah,
Maybe they already got their no. Who knows?
Well, maybe.
could be.
I hope not. I really do feel like they could do some good together,
I think
as opposed to one being a fork and then you just go do your thing or whatever. But I really do feel like while it may be not, while this stuff doesn't happen every day, I imagine you could get farther together.
correct.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
something
that
like
sounds good.
And I'm sure those 14 developers that are working on Openoffice would much rather throw their hard work at an actively developed project, like a full-fledged project.
Well, I mean, I bet if you ask them, are you actively
It's a
developing
full-fledged project.
Openoffice? I bet you they would say yeah.
Right.
So, but I do agree, and so this is at the end of where I would ever ask anybody putting their hard work, sweat, blood, tears, everything into something. I'll never go further than what I've said, where it's maybe consider it. Well, here's an option, but yeah, I do my best to draw that line and say I'll never ask a developer or tell a developer what he or she should be working on.
Right.
Oh man, but sometimes in the back of my mind I'm like, but it would be so good if you did.
Yeah. And hey, these 14 developers could be very passionate about this project.
Yeah, exactly.
And working with the resources they have. And by all means, we're not here to criticize anybody working on anything like that. It just, when you look at the optics of it, you really see a project that's flourishing, it seems like. They're putting a lot of effort into it. And then you see another one where those developers are working very hard, but the backer behind it in Apache just doesn't seem to have their focus anymore. So,
have you seen the list of things that Apache has underneath its umbrella? You got to scroll on
It's a
that
big
list. And we're
list.
talking it's tiny font too. You just scroll.
Wow. Yeah.
There are a lot of projects,
Right.
and really good projects. Some of them
Yeah.
excellent.
By the way, Apache, thank you for all the wonderful things you do work on.
Yes.
This ain't one of them.
I think Nginx is now inching in, but the Apache web server used to run the internet. I mean, it was like 80% of the internet, something like that.
Yeah.
Well, Nginx might be on the front side, running your reverse proxy, but I think a lot of Apache is still on the back end.
Oh, I bet.
Okay, guys. Next topic for conversation. I really want to go buy that new RTX 3070, and I went and looked at it today.
Big old message says you can't have it.
Yeah.
No, I could have it. I could get it today for $949.
That sounds normal for NVIDIA, right? That's
That
MSRP.
What a
is
deal.
insane.
I guess
So,
at least you could have that one.
Right? If you want to pay double, well, in MSRP seriously is like 400, right?
I think so. It's the 20. It's the 70 series. Like it's not the 80. It's not the 90. You expect. I have a 2070, RTX 2070. I had the other one, 1070.
Mm-hmm.
They were available. I don't know. I think I got those at a normal MSRP, maybe at $50 off, type deal.
Yeah.
But not $1,000 for a, maybe it's a great card, but we expected of the 80s, but we never expected on the 70s or
Yeah.
let alone.
Isn't that actually the price of the 3090? like
I think
MSRP.
so. I think that might even be higher. I mean, like,
Oof.
I don't know. Regardless, it's too much. But before we get too far into that, it really is we're going to talk about NVIDIA. And you know what? Even before we get into the cards, let's talk about some NVIDIA woes with our kernels. So 5.9 is out in the wild. I've been running it for a little while.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I took one for the team.
I was waiting with bated breath for you to come back and say, all right, well, I opened up my backup laptop, and that's how I'm talking to you right now.
Yeah.
Yes. No.
It wasn't that
bad. I saw it come. I chickened out the first week. OpenSUSE popped up, and I was doing my zippered up, and I saw 5.9. I was like, whoa, stop, whoa, slow down, because that laptop's got the 1650 in it. So I thought, well, now I don't think it's going to work. I think there's issues. The whole thing that Manjaro raised, and there was a bunch of topics about it.
Yeah, in these past few weeks, we've been hearing news story after news story about
over
Linux
and over.
kernel 5.9, their incompatibilities with NVIDIA. NVIDIA themselves put out a statement saying, hold off till mid-November, which will probably be about the day that you're hearing this, to upgrade to kernel 5.9 because there are incompatibilities. There are things that might go wrong.
Well,
right.
And some of the news articles actually said just to wait till 5.10 comes.
True.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Which, if you're on a rolling release,
yeah,
that means you're just not updating, or you're gonna have to roll back your kernel, which is what I was expecting to do. I was gonna I thought, well, if it just breaks, I'll roll it back and it'll be fine. But it didn't. So I booted in. Everything's been running fine. I haven't run into any glitches whatsoever. So we went and did a really, really, really scientific poll. Which basically means we threw it out there on Twitter and we threw it in Telegram. It's about as scientific as we're going to get in here. And we got some feedback. Not a lot. Actually, I was a little disappointed in my poll. I threw out at the end.
You know why? I really think the reason that we didn't get a lot of responses is because there's really not a lot of people on kernel 5.9.
It's true. It's true. It's a niche within a niche within a niche.
It is. You've got, number one, you already got to be off Ubuntu.
Right.
Because if you're on Ubuntu on weird, wild kernels, you're already like in the 1% here. But now we're talking about that smaller niche who is not on Ubuntu, but they are on a more, I won't say rolling because not all of them are rolling. Like I think Fedora has 5.9 now, and they're not
rolling.
Really rolling.
Yeah, they kind
of. But I mean, they just have new packages.
Right.
I mean, you've got to be in that small group of people that even has 5.9 available to them in the first place.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, so OpenSUSE had it pretty quick.
Yeah.
it was there right out of the gate. And so I held off a week, and then I did it, and it ran fine. We heard back that some people had some issues only when doing certain things. Now, I think that was on some of the older cards, like a 1060 we heard about, and maybe like a 1070, which is a couple generations back now. So anyways, we know that there's an issue there, potentially, hit or miss. 5.10 might be the answer. We really don't know because NVIDIA is being really quiet about this whole thing.
Yeah. I think that's the bigger story is there's less news coming out of, the official channels of, what's going on, where are we at?
Yeah, we had Kernel Panic say something underneath our tweet. I don't even know what you say for tweets, but yeah, subtweet? I have no idea.
He tweeted at us.
Yeah, there you go. Saying that they were using the TK Glitch 5.9 kernel and that everything was working fine. And this is on Endeavor OS. So,
okay.
Yeah, it doesn't seem to me that the problem that we were reading about, that we were hearing about, is nearly as big as it was made out to be.
It sounded very scary.
Doesn't seem that way.
It did. It sounded like things just weren't going to work. Like it was like incompatible.
Like you're going to get a black screen.
The conversation we were having literally 2 weeks ago, as Leo was mocking me for having anything NVIDIA,
always
was like, you're going to be stuck on 5.8 for 2 years. And you're never going to get off, and there's no answer. And NVIDIA's abandoned you, and like all these other horrible. I was crying.
I won't say that we were just maybe trying to give you a little bit of a hard time, but
maybe just
maybe.
That's always what it is.
Yeah.
But it is a little frightening to think, I think we always trust that they're just going to work it out.
Yeah.
It'll all get worked out.
And I think normally they do. It seems like they're a little later than normal on this release.
And I don't know the nuts and bolts of exactly how all that, the actual issues and what the incompatibilities are and all that, but we know they exist. I've tried to read a few articles on it. Some have written some things. Again, nothing really lines up because there seems to be different experiences happening.
Right, yeah.
Based on the architecture of the card that you have, perhaps. But now I will say the one thing I haven't done with it, I haven't done any like serious gaming with it running. Everything's running and my workload and everything was working, but I didn't have a chance to get in there and try and, do some gaming. And maybe that's where it'll fall down. Maybe that's where the problem is. Maybe because I think I heard there was an issue with the CUDA and engaging that. So I don't know. But I really, from the articles I was reading, I thought I'm going to hit this update button and my laptop's going to disintegrate in my lap is what I was
melt it down right here.
I think the worst that we heard was Ian Telegram was saying that there were just some lockups. There were some random issues, but I don't even know that you could really fully blame the video card for this or the driver for this. It could have just been a mix of things. 5.9 is still pretty new, so maybe there's still some kinks that need to be worked out that aren't necessarily the fault of NVIDIA or anything like that.
Yeah, I mean, who knows what other packages got updated too, and any number of things, like you said, can cause that.
And the other thing that I didn't hear was, just kind of as you said, Joe, nothing blew up that I saw.
Yep.
Yeah. Nothing blew up, and nobody's talking about it at NVIDIA. That's the other thing.
Yeah, the lack of, I guess, not really transparency, but the lack of, I guess, just communication in general about what's going on with this thing, because we had hey, wait until mid-November. Well, it's mid-November.
Yeah, clock's ticking.
When this episode drops, it'll be mid-November.
Yes.
For sure. Those are the things that we're facing. So it does kind of prompt the question, and I think, Leo, you were asking the question is, well, what as a Linux community, should we be targeting NVIDIA as an option? Like, is this what we should be recommending? If somebody come up to you today and said, hey, I'm building a new PC, what would you tell them?
Honestly, I'm a bit of an AMD fanboy, so I would probably tell them to buy some AMD stuff. But, there are caveats with both avenues. Let's say you went Intel NVIDIA, then, the caveats that you're going to have to deal with there are, this. The little bit of uncertainty that you have. But obviously nothing's game-breaking, so it wouldn't stop me from saying, hey, I'm looking at the 3070. Should I pull the trigger on that with Linux? I'm like, well, yeah, their short-lived driver just came out, and it does support the 3070, so I don't see why you shouldn't.
And if you're sitting on a pile of money because they're $3,000.
Yeah, that's the other thing, right? If you can afford it, twice the price, yeah. But, let's say that they could get the 3070 at MSRP, in the next week or two or something like that. I wouldn't steer them away from that. Just be aware that while you may not be able to figure out what's going on with this 5.9 kernel, know that NVIDIA does have a situation where you can't just hop onto the newest kernel. This is something that is an issue, that the driver does have to catch up to the kernel. You install that driver, now you can move up to the new kernel or something like that. On Mintcast, I broke one of Bo's laptops doing that. So I learned my lesson. Luckily for me, it wasn't my laptop, so that was fine. But be aware what driver you're on so you know what kernel you can be on. But if you're sticking on Ubuntu, then it doesn't really matter. I don't really think any of that matters.
What's the next kernel going to ship with Ubuntu? 21.04 is going to be what?
It's hard to say.
I'm going to guess 5.11.
Unpredictable at this point. It's too early in the.
But it's not going to be. It's still, you're going to be, if everything's working on POP. POP's a pretty popular among gaming. If you're on Ubuntu, Mint, right? Like whatever. You're not worried, I guess, too much about the kernel, so it's not that big a deal.
There's going to be enough QA testing and whatnot, and enough support there that there's going to be some eyes on it, and they won't ship something that won't work.
Yeah. Honestly, I think the real recommendation that I would give somebody is, and I hate to say this because it's 2020 and we shouldn't have to say this, but maybe don't be the most early adopter of everything.
Right?
I think that is probably one of the best things that you can do to make yourself an easy experience in Linux, right? If I bought the 5700 XT on launch day, I would have been very disappointed with the way that it was performing on kernel 5.3. I would not have been happy. Because 5.4, that's when everything just blossomed and everybody was fine with it. And now on 5.8, it's fantastic. And I think, NVIDIA is the same way. If you got your card, your 3070, let's say you got a 3070, on launch day and you already have it in your hot little hands, the Linux driver wasn't available but for a few days ago. So, that's just a tough call to make, I think.
So we're still, it feels like, sometimes it feels like the old days. Where
we're not that bad.
Right.
Yeah, it's not that bad, but it does feel, at least with NVIDIA sometimes, it does feel like the old days. And it's interesting. So it's not an NVIDIA or AMD issue, do you think? Right.
No.
So it's like, I'm kind of to your point about being an early adopter. I think because AMD's supposed to be pretty solid, and it is, but not at first. Like you said, it really tends to take a little while.
I think that goes with anything that you produce and manufacture. Sometimes the first things that are off the line, they aren't the best experience. And you got some kinks probably that need to get worked out. And in this case, they're probably software kinks, so you can work it out. It's not like you've got to get another one. But that first experience, oftentimes, as a first adopter, just is not really smooth sometimes.
So you're telling me my Ryzen 5 build with my AMD 6800 cards just probably not going to happen in November?
Well,
Is
actually,
that what you're telling me?
Dan and I were looking at that. There's big Navi support in the kernel in, what was it, 5.10 or something?
Yeah, 5.8, 5.9.
Oh, wow. Oh, that's right. That's right. It was
They started
earlier
talking
than
about
that.
it in 5.8.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they started talking about big Navi in 5.8.
So, I don't know what it's going to be. Nobody has these cards yet. So
it's hard to say.
I would love to know just how good the performance is in Linux. If it's, if it's going to be one of those situations where the 5700 XT was not great, or if it's going to be a lot better than that.
It may be usable, if nothing, though.
Yeah.
Well, that's what you want to hear when you go spend $2,000 on a new system.
Yeah.
That
It's usable. It's good.
Exactly right. Yeah.
That's really good. Thanks for that insight.
It will display the desktop.
It almost runs as fast as my Raspberry Pi, but it's a little hotter.
Yep.
Yeah,
that
sounds about right.
I typed Start X at the prompt, and I was greeted by graphical.
Yeah. Well, and it does scream at me that still, as far as we've come, we're still not first-class citizens when it comes to a lot of the hardware.
I think you can cut us a little bit of slack because not everything works immaculately in Windows on day one.
That's
either.
Very true.
But by day four, day four, it's usually fixed.
Yeah, you got 95% of the user base on Windows, though. So those fixes, they will come out faster for Windows.
Because there's some screaming.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's some screaming. Okay, well, talking about NVIDIA, guys. So speaking of those new pieces of hardware that we alluded to that none of us can seem to get our hands on.
Unobtainium?
Unobtainium. These new, the 3070, again, I was laughing because they had them, of course, somebody bought those at whatever price and then is trying to make a buck, as happens on Amazon. The 3080, nowhere in sight. 3090, nowhere in sight. The Ryzen 5000 series, nowhere in sight.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think we like to stick it to NVIDIA. Going, they create this.
Oh yeah.
They create this demand, and they talk about all these things.
I sure would love to say all this.
And they only make like a tenth of what they need because they just want all press is good press and all that stuff. But not our little AMD. They're so great, and they are always Look, I can't go buy the processor I want right now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, so on the bright side, you don't have a choice but to follow my advice.
Yes,
you can't be an early adopter right now
because
because nobody's selling it.
Yeah.
Well, if they are selling it, it's twice as much.
I don't care what OS you're on.
It'll be 3-4 months old by the time you get it anyway.
Yeah,
exactly.
the 5600X X is what MSRP of $299, And I saw on eBay they're going upwards of $450 and above. Yeah. No.
And if
man.
anybody buys that, I want to find you and I want to smack you.
Yeah, don't do that. Please don't promote
wait.
that.
You got money to burn.
It'll be $189 come February.
Yeah.
But it does kind of lends itself to another point. So one, who's paying these prices? Like, so there are people that I guess just have it to burn and they just like, yep, I'll pay $1,000 for a $400 video card.
Yeah.
Sure.
Mhm.
That sounds like a great deal so that I can say I had it first, I guess. But is this a manufacturing issue or is this on purpose? Is this NVIDIA? Because it's every year with NVIDIA. We talk about it every year. These cards come out and they get sucked up either by the crypto mining community or by the gaming community, but they are gone. They know their demand is X. They make, B.
Yeah.
they make
Really
way
short.
less than they need. But it just seems to be more and more these days. Even AMD, again, brand new processors out. Can't get your hands on them.
I really think this is just, there's more demand now than there ever has been in the past. I mean, for as small as the market is, PC gaming is getting more popular. And people are working from home now as well. You don't just do CAD on some tiny ThinkPad, right? I mean, you've got to have serious hardware if you don't want to be waiting all day for anything, everything. And same with a lot of different industries. So I really do think that to NVIDIA's credit, to AMD's credit, it's just insufficient supply.
Yep.
You just can't make it fast enough. Maybe if they waited 6 more months to launch so they could build up the stock, then they wouldn't sell out. But then you'd be waiting 6 more months, and then we'd all be, nipping at each other's heads because the new card isn't out yet or something like that. I mean, I really think every fiscal quarter matters. And stockholders, the ones that hold a lot of stock, that make it to those meetings and demand things, they're not going to allow the CEO to play games like artificial scarcity to squeak out 6% more profit that quarter or something like that. I mean, you got people that have money that want to throw it at these companies, and the argument would be that they're saying no, hold off, maybe buy something older or just wait or something like that. Maybe we'll get a little bit more money out of you later. I don't think they're doing it. I don't think that's what's happening.
Well, and if the competition is able to meet the demand for some reason,
right?
Then it's game over, right? I mean,
yeah. If it does turn out to be that, if it really is an artificial scarcity thing, NVIDIA can't do that next video card. They certainly can't do that. AMD's nipping at their heels. Have you guys seen those numbers? Oh my gosh.
Do you have any illusions at thinking that I can go buy the 6800 XT in the first month?
No, probably not.
If you're lucky, it'll be 30 minutes before it's sold out.
Right. Yep.
So it made me think of, do you remember back in the day, there was a time when a certain fruit product would release every year and there would be lines wrapped around buildings and everybody would say, oh, that Apple, they're creating this demand and they don't make enough. And then you know what they did? They were like, yeah, this stinks. We're going to make enough phones.
Yes.
We're going to release them when we have them. We're going to take care of our customers. And I think the frustrating part of this is you do have people, Leo, you said you're an AMD fanboy. There are others that are NVIDIA fanboys, whatever it is. There are people that are loyal to those brands. And the only way they can go get this product that their enthusiasm has been built up is to go pay double.
God, don't do it. Don't be that loyal. Come on.
I know.
That sounds terrible too.
But it makes me think of, do you remember when you used to buy a video game and it was done? Do you remember those days?
Oh,
yes.
Yeah.
Well,
do you remember?
You actually got the whole thing.
You actually bought a game.
You didn't download anything.
You
after
installed
the fact.
it.
Yeah, I get it.
And then you got home, and you just played it.
Mm-hmm.
Now you get the game, and from release to update, there's like an 8 gig update on a 64 gig game day one. So then you got to download that, and then it's rife with glitches and it breaks And then that's in the October patch, and that's in the November patch. So it's an unfinished product that they're releasing early. And maybe this is our own fault because the consumers are like, hey, we want NBA 2K
we drive it
on this date every year, or we want this.
It goes further than that, Joe, though. They give you the privilege of buying more add-ons to the unfinished game to finish the game.
Here's some DLC.
Yeah.
Here's some DLC. But I'm not even talking about. I don't even mind DLC. I don't mind something that's going to keep me playing it for 5 years or 4 years, maybe, because over the next 2 years or whatever they release a couple of patch or add-ons. But it's just the fact that it's not done. It's not even done cooking, and they put it out there, and then you see the comments on Steam are just like they go from positive to just mixed to just mostly negative and then the patch comes out and then they go right back up and then something else breaks and then they're right back down.
Yeah. Well, tell that to Cyberpunk. They haven't even released anything yet.
Whoops. How long have we been waiting on Cyberpunk?
A while. I don't know.
When did they talk about 1993? When did that start coming out? I don't know when they started talking about it.
We should just give up on that one.
Poor people that are waiting on it.
But I was just, the Xbox Series X launched yesterday. They're gone.
Yeah.
Yep.
Can't buy them. So is this just what it is?
I think
if we're
it
tech
is.
enthusiasts, it's just we're just not going to get stuff.
But I think it's good for us. I think
Is
it's
it?
great for us.
Why? I don't have it.
Because just relax.
Yeah.
Just wait. It's going to come and you're going to enjoy it just as much when you get it.
I know I will.
I mean, I don't know. I guess I've trained myself long time ago that it's okay. It's all right. You don't need it day one. But I mean, that's certainly my opinion, right? I mean, there are folks that just they need it now.
The waiting, and I'm right there with you, I think, Leo.
Yeah, I'm okay with it.
Do you guys like movies?
I watch some.
Yeah. I mean, I'll watch a little bit.
Yeah. Okay. Big blockbusters coming out, and they're like, yeah, you know what? We got 8 seats. You guys just wait for DVD.
Hey, that's actually not too hard of a job right now.
Yeah, everybody's waiting for it to come download
They got
anyway.
seats, they just don't have movies. Yeah. But yeah, I get it. It's just the industry builds up this excitement for something they're not going to give you.
Yeah.
So that's the part that I struggle with is I'd rather they wait 3 months, get their product in, build the excitement, and then release it. And I know, like Leo, you said, I run a business too. Like I get it. Like I know there's fiscally responsible things to do. You have people to answer to, and you got to get product. And hey, guess what? NVIDIA selling 100% of their product, and AMD selling 100% of their product in third quarter, heading into fourth quarter, which is Christmas season, which is going to be big.
Yeah.
Yes,
Now's the time.
That stuff all looks great. And you got to have a new release because if they held it 3 months, you don't want to release it in February because you missed the holiday
Everybody spent
season.
all their money, man.
Yep.
But it's definitely a pain point. If you look on Twitter, there's
is.
some frustrated people out there that are, let's say you've been waiting a year or two to build your new PC.
Oh.
So I'm not talking about the Miis because like I upgrade every year. I get I'm building new stuff.
You're talking about the Miis.
Like
I drive it.
I'm talking about the Dans.
Oh yeah,
Dan's,
man, me too.
Yeah. Dan's rocking like a 960 NVIDIA card, and he just wants a modern AMD card.
Yeah.
No, but yeah, those people. Those are the people that are the ones that are frustrated because I think the people like myself that are just like, I don't want it yet, anyways. I mean, I am kidding. I really am not going to get this stuff yet, anyways, because I don't know that it's all going to work, and it just means I got to break down my computer that I just put together 6 months ago and put in all the new parts. But for that guy that's just been like ready to build his next 6-7 year machine, like he's on the edge of his seat. He's been saving his pennies and he's like, no, I can't get it.
Yeah, to that guy, man, I'm sorry.
Yes.
Yeah, I feel for you, bud.
I
feel for
I'm
you.
sorry.
Hang in there, buddy. You'll be there soon.
Yeah.
We bring you now live now to our news segment called Mozilla Watch 2020.
Ooh.
I'm Bob Voicey Voice, and I'm reporting live from our studio here in somewhere that nobody cares about. And we're going to go live on the street to Leo Chavez. Leo Chavez, give us our 2020 update on Mozilla.
Okay, look, I would yell it really loud, but I can't. It's a clean show. We can't say this. I can spell it for you.
Please don't say it.
UNFCK, right? I can spell it for you. And we're just going to say, Dan, thank you for this one, unmess up the internet.
Yeah, there we go.
So, Joe, you saw this commercial on Hulu.
I did.
About unmess up the internet. What even was this ad? I can't even imagine what it would be.
Yeah, so yeah, I had seen this ad on like the web because that's where you would see these kind of ads, I think sometimes, the little harsher ones. But I'm sitting there watching Hulu one night with my wife and I'm like, no way. Is that Mozilla's ad? And she's like, what is that about? And I'm trying to explain what that's about. But yeah, they're unmess up the internet ad, which it's an interesting take. I'll give them that much. They've made some interesting choices this year. I don't know that ad's for primetime television.
Well, let me ask you this. What did you get out of that ad? What were they trying to sell you?
They were trying to tell me that the internet's pretty much been messed up by the people who pay their bills.
Oh, interesting.
That's what I got. That's what I got out of it. I got out of it. They're wanting to draw attention to Facebook and and all these others that are ruining the internet. And I'm thinking, well, Google is part of that group that you think is ruining the internet.
Social
Google's
media
also paying your bills.
Yeah,
sucker.
that's very true.
So I'm like, well, if you're really altruistic and you want to unmess up the internet, well, then send them back their money and see how that works for you.
Yeah, so that's like
know,
sticking it to the man, right?
Hold on, but wait. They're
Right.
taking the man's money to fight the man.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so they're Robin Hood. You're saying they're Robin Hood.
Yeah.
They're Robin Hood and Little John.
Yeah, maybe so.
Yep.
Maybe so. I love the Fox version of that movie, by the way. That's one of my
that's the
childhood
best. The
movies.
Disney
I love
version. Oh, it's the best. Best music too.
How did your wife perceive this? Did she think it was very professional looking?
No, she was appalled.
Okay.
So any adult that sees that knows exactly. Now, look, we keep it pretty clean in our house.
Sure.
So, and I know that's not everybody, and I don't expect everybody to be that way, but that's how we choose to live. So when that pops up on the TV, it's not exactly what we're looking
She's trying
for.
to hide the kid's eyes and everything else, right?
Thankfully the kids weren't there because I
Right.
tell you, the 9-year-old, he'd have said it. He's like, "What's on the internet?" Yeah, he just said it out loud. What does that mean? And then that'd have been fun. So, yeah, I get what they're doing. Like I understand it as a tech person. I don't know. So I would say my wife is the average audience hanging out on Hulu at 9:30 at night, right? It was lost. She's like, huh?
Yeah.
Huh?
I mean, honestly, I saw a 15-second spot of this, and I didn't even know what they wanted, like what they were trying to tell me other than the internet's busted.
Oh, and don't name your daughter Karen.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
I got that
Mhm.
from
Yeah.
you too. Like, yeah, you can't name anybody Karen.
Oof.
Sorry to all the
Yeah,
Karens
absolutely.
out there. Your name is ruined.
So here's the campaign. Here's what they're actually trying to do. This campaign is an ad for some of their services, obviously, right? Got to get a little bit of that in there. But it's also a campaign to fight misinformation, misleading headlines, remove targeted political ads. So Mozilla recommends that, go use its Facebook container. Keep Facebook contained. Go use Pocket because Pocket is managed by humans. These are, the idea is that if a human reads it, they can feel the propaganda angle of that.
Right.
If I can go that far. But it's more than that. It's tweeting at Jack, who's the owner of Twitter. It's signing petitions. It's using the New York University's online political transparency project. They also recommend using ethical apps like Proton, Jumbo, Medium, and Signal. So the ad is just there for the shock value, I think. The name of the campaign is there for the shock value, but underneath it all, I think it's good. I like this, just the whole idea in general. So outside of unmess up the internet, what do you guys think of that?
I do like the campaign. I think there are some things that are broken, but boy, that's going to be a tough hill to climb. I think they've got it. They've already got a big task ahead of them. And I don't know. Do you really want to go after the people that are paying your bills? I just wonder about that.
Let me tell you why I think it's a winning strategy.
Okay.
Because Mozilla's already losing.
Okay. Yeah, so you got nothing to lose. This is last ditch effort sort of thing.
Maybe
Sure.
that's what this is, but Dan, you and me, looking at you.
Yeah.
That's it. Me and you are probably the only two Firefox users left in the world.
Mm.
So they got to do something. And
There's a
I
few more.
think this is seriously their attempt to buck everything and try something totally new
Okay.
and move in a way that, the browser's not going to do it. They've lost that war. Everything is Chromium. Everything from top to bottom except Safari. Everything is Chromium. So
Is that okay though if they lose the two of us in the process, to gain?
they might only lose you.
Okay. Well, I'm just asking. Like, I mean, it's a bold move, and what happens
It
if
is.
you lose the audience you already have? Are you going to get enough?
I hope.
If so, you remember I watched the Apple press conference this week, and you remember the whole "I'm a PC."
Mhm. Yep,
I'm a Mac.
those were
I'm
fun.
a
Remember those
Firefox.
commercials?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Okay. So what if Apple released a commercial that was unmess up your computer?
Mm.
Because that's what that's Apple's take on things, is like, hey, we're privacy focused, we're gonna Windows is viruses, blah blah blah. Anyways, that's always been their take. That was the whole piece. I'm a PC, I'm a Mac thing. But what if they said your computer and come buy a Mac? How would that have gone over in the general scheme of things? Even if the message was correct, I agree with all the things said. I just don't agree with the way it was said.
Absolutely.
I think they're targeting the younger folks because honestly, a campaign like that with Apple, I don't know that it would really offend a whole lot of the younger folks. I know that I can't speak for everybody, and I'm not even young anymore, but I don't know. You look out on the internet landscape where this ad is being played, or where Apple may play that controversial imaginary ad. I don't know. I don't know that it would be too. I think you might gain more than you lose. I'll put it that way.
Yep.
I don't think Apple would ever touch it.
No, I don't think they would either.
No.
But Mozilla's in a spot, man.
Apple's not sinking.
That's a
them.
level of class that
Yeah.
you just don't go.
Yeah.
And Mozilla doesn't have that. They've ran themselves into the ground. And maybe this is, hey, if this is a sign of them kicking, and they're like, okay, we're not going down, and we're gonna fight. And
That's what this is. I really think it is.
We're going to get rid of the 5 people that we pay 90% of our money to. That's a stretch, I know, but
I
being
wish.
facetious. But whatever it is, like, we're gonna get rid of these bozos, and we're gonna try and make this thing happen. Okay, cool, I get it. But if you're an established company with a reputation, you know what I didn't see in that ad? Firefox anywhere.
Nope.
I'm telling you, because Firefox is not their priority anymore.
Okay,
It's not.
But who the heck is Mozilla?
That's what we're finding out right now.
But the thing is,
What product are
I
they
know
pitching?
who Mozilla is.
It's not even their product.
You two know who Mozilla
Yeah.
is.
Well, Facebook container kind of
My
is.
wife doesn't know what Mozilla. What? I would have done it with Firefox. I would at least put that name out there because people know the browser.
Right.
But I don't think a lot of people know who Mozilla is. They know Firefox before they know Mozilla.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe. Well, time will tell on this one. I don't necessarily see it as a huge ding on them. I really do think it's them just trying to something new, something different.
Yeah. Nah, they can't get any more dings.
We need
It's all
to
flying
downhill
in
from
the
here
weeds.
anyway,
Yeah.
man.
They're just trying to get gas in the motor and get the plane
Yeah.
off the ground.
Yeah.
We need to keep our ear to the ground on this one.
Thank you for tuning in to Mozilla Watch 2020. We'll be back next week with more news.
The Linux community has some fantastic members, and we want to make sure to highlight that. In our podcast showcase for this episode, we have LWDW, or Linux Weekly Daily Wednesday, from the Linux Gamecast Network. Ven, Pedro, and Jill, they deliver a great show, and I mean, Ven's got some really good insight on audio, and Pedro's always trying something new, and Jill, she's just so happy. Everybody needs more Jill.
Everybody needs more Jill.
Yeah.
Jill, she can't talk without you smiling.
I know.
I don't know what it is.
Well, see, that's the thing about that. Like when you just hear it, you can hear the smile.
Yeah.
So it just brings happiness. I love it.
Yeah. I remember the first time I heard her on a podcast anywhere, I was like, this isn't real. Who is this person? Who is this happy in life? And it is so consistent. She is always, that's just her personality.
Life.
It's amazing.
It is great.
Absolutely.
They bring great experience and delivered in the podcast. So one of my favorites. Feel free to send your emails to contact@linuxuserspace.show, and we can have a discussion about them on the show. If you like what you hear on this show, please consider sponsoring us on Patreon. Head on over to patreon.com/linuxuserspace. That's patreon.com/linuxuserspace, all one word. Please follow us on Twitter @linuxuserspace to get all the latest announcements for this show and highlights for things that impact your user space. We also have our big, growing Telegram group.
It's been eating its veggies.
I know. Please join us at linuxuserspace.show/Telegram.
So proud. Oh, it's getting so big.
I love the conversation over there that we have, and please join us. Lastly, don't forget to rate this podcast on iTunes or your favorite podcast application, and like, comment, and subscribe on YouTube. You can always get more information at our website, linuxuserspace.show.
This is App Focus, where we focus on the app. Your app, Joe. Yeah.
Yay!
I was fielding apps. I was like, hey, kind of ran out of ideas. Can you give me some? And one of the ones that bubbled up to the top was Filelight. All one word. So this is an app that I didn't know I needed in my life. I use a lot of different things. I don't think I ever had an app to do this with. But sometimes you just need to know where all your space went.
Yeah.
And I think, Dan, you had mentioned, what was it that you mentioned? Because I use it too in the command line.
Oh, NCDU.
Yes, and it's so fantastic because I'm such a nerd. I love that kind of, that style of application, and it's very informative. But that's not for everybody.
No.
So I don't know if I could bring an app like that to App Focus because, it's a niche of a niche of a niche, right?
Joe won this round.
Yeah, I'll give it to you. So Filelight.
All I do is win. Oh.
That's it. So Filelight is an app that scours your entire machine and tells you where every single file is. And because we've been using Neon for the past couple of weeks, it fit because it's a cute app and it looks perfect. It fits perfectly inside of KDE Neon. So yeah, that's what it does. It crawls your entire system and tells you where all the big files are. It reminds me that I created that directory 2 weeks ago and stuck like 17 ISOs in it. I'm like, where is 60 gigs of my disk gone? What have I downloaded? And then, I'll use Filelight and it's like, hey, you see this big, huge purple chunk of your disk right here? Yeah, that, dude, you forgot. Yeah, so if you're getting near the end of your disk space and you don't have, $60, $100, $200 to throw at a new 1 terabyte NVMe SSD something or other, then Filelight's going to help you figure out where you might be able to reclaim 1 gig, 100 gigs, And the cool thing is you can get it straight from the repository in Ubuntu 20.04 and up. It's just there. So sudo apt install Filelight. Easy peasy. Go find it in the software store. And I would imagine it's got to be in Manjaro. It's definitely in Pop! OS since it's got an Ubuntu base.
I think it's in every store. It's in.
Yeah, it's got to be everywhere.
I feel like it is.
It's installed by default in Manjaro KDE.
Oh,
nice.
See? All right. So
it
not
was
only
built
is it
it
in
came
the repo.
built in, son.
Yeah, very nice.
Cool.
Very cool. So it's just a great app. But you know where else you can get this?
Don't say it.
Oh, I'm going to say it.
What?
Don't say
Windows.
Wow.
Yeah.
It is available in Windows.
Yep. Crack open the Microsoft Store, type in Filelight, and whose name pops up? KDE.
Nice.
You can get Filelight in Windows. And speaking of being a nerd, I would always recommend Winderstat for this job, mostly because it's got little Pac-Mans in it that you kind of eat, and back and forth. Oh, it's so cute. I love it. That's my favorite thing about Winderstat. That's why I get it. But yeah, just the animations in Filelight are really good, and they actually work well in Windows as well. Joe, your experience was a little, what was it?
So I'll say on KDE, Filelight is beautiful. I mean, it's great, looks amazing. The animation is great, and the same animation happens in Windows 10 because, of course, I went and installed it and played with it. But it's in an old dialog box-looking window like that. The exterior, it's the carpet don't match the
Joe,
drapes, let me just tell you.
Is it Rofi bad? I mean, oh man,
it's
say it ain't
Windows
so.
10 Rofi bad.
All right.
So if it's not Windows 10 Rofi bad. So like I was telling Leo, I go, you know how like sometimes you're using wine and a dialog box comes up and you're like, oh wow, I just flashed back 10 years.
Yeah.
That's kind of how the box is.
I did kind of get that vibe. But you know what?
Yeah.
I still use Rofi, and I still think it looks fine. So that didn't bother me at all when I installed it in Windows.
Rofi is a fine product, and I don't want to disparage it anymore. It's a great product from 1984. I can't
there you
believe
go. That should be its
it was
tagline.
there with the Amiga, and it's here
So
in 2020.
even the way it looked, it probably didn't detract from the functionality, right?
No, not at all. Functionality is
I
the
learned
same.
that Windows creates I can't actually remember if it's 40 or 400, and I want to say it's 400,000 files
Yep.
live in C Windows.
Wowie.
Blew my mind. What? That's a lot.
And they wonder why they won't open source Windows 7. How embarrassing.
Next time, we've said it before, we'll say it again. The distro of the month of November is KDE Neon. Next episode, we're going to close that month out. We appreciate everyone following along, and we'll try to add some comments you might have into our next show. We hope is the operative word there, to work on a collaborative document where we can all throw our ideas in there and we can gather a little bit more information than just us four for these episodes.
So the document's there. We're going to be covering KDE Neon in the next show, and
See you next time.
see you later. Peace.
Deuces. Drop the mic.
Thank you, one and all. We really appreciate everyone for listening and for your support. Please follow along as we continue to test KDE Neon. And where can we find you fine folks?
You can find me at Leo Chavez on Twitter.
You can find me at KC2BEZ.
And you can find me at JoJo_Phet, P-H-E-T. See ya. Beep, 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 beep,
Yeah.
beep, 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 beep.
Absolutely.
Reporting live from the news desk, this is Mozilla Watch 2020. We're going to go live to our correspondent down on the street corner humming a tune, Dan Simmons. Dan, tell us what's going on with Mozilla. Well, Bob, I'm down here on the corner of 5th and 9th. And from what I can tell, Mozilla's having some issues with their commercials. And I was talking to Margaret the other day, and she said, Dan, what do you think about this thing here with Mozilla? And I told her, I said, Margaret, I just don't know. I just don't know what's going on. Back to you, Joe. Well, thank you, Dan. We appreciate your always insightful commentary on the state of Mozilla. Now we're going to go live to our correspondent, Leo Chavez. He is sitting in a sewer somewhere wishing he had bought more Bitcoin. Leo.
It's messed up, Joe. I don't know what else to say about it. They came in, they unearthed it, and it's still back
Now,
to you,
Leo,
Joe.
when you say are we talking about the letter F, or are we talking about a euphemism for a much more foul word?
We're talking about the Sesame Street F. This episode is brought to you by the letter F.
1, 2, 3.